This episode is sponsored by TornSports.com, and I've got a lovely pair of sliders here, every footballer's dream. What else do they do, Lou?
They do grip socks, all heights. So,
Nice.
they've got the ankle ones. And they actually do, I don't know, the footballers' trend these days is where they have the little cut in the back of their match day socks.
Yeah.
So they do them as well.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they do plenty of different socks and obviously sliders. So.
That's sick. Yeah, these sliders are very nice. If you want to grab yourself anything, head over to TornSports.com and get yourself something nice.
Welcome back to Ball Talk with me, Lewis Bryon, and today I'm joined, as usual, by a footballer, Ken Charles. And we haven't got Noah today. He's a bit ill, a bit under the weather, so he's taking a day off. But we're going to be talking all about last weekend's Premier League games, specifically Arsenal, United and Liverpool, yeah? But let's go on to the Liverpool-United game, which was on Sunday evening. What a game, by the way. That was such an entertaining game, such a good watch. Probably the game I've enjoyed, or at least one of them, the most out of the whole season. Liverpool looked like they were half good. They weren't really at the races, especially in the first half. And United just looked like a different team.
Yeah, well, we spoke off camera about how literally just a bit of effort and application can go a long way, can make up for perhaps a lack of quality. And they did that.
Yeah.
They did that. They'd be disappointed not to come away with the win in that game, with the chance at the end as well. But no one's I mean, if you're a United fan, you're not complaining at the fact that they've gone there and fought hard for a 2-2 draw, especially with the way the results have been going for them in the previous weeks. They got thumped there 7-0 last season. If you told them before the game that they'd get a 2-2 draw, I think a lot of them would have bitten your hand off.
Yeah, especially after that Newcastle game where they looked terrible. I know they had a better starting 11, but like you say, it just shows. Forget the tactics, the system they're playing. When they have a decent starting 11 and they show, a lot of courage and a lot of effort and application, like you just said, they can perform. That's the thing that's missing. You can go to a Liverpool and go to Anfield and you've got all these world-class players that are then going to be up for it. But next week they've got Southampton. Are they going to be up for it then? It's them games you're going to see that you're going to see what United are really about.
Yeah, that's the difference between a team that wins a league or finishes in the top 4 versus your teams that float around outside of that. The really good teams, like you said, of course you can be up for it for Liverpool away, but then you also go to Southampton and just get a result. You go to Brentford, get a result, and currently United are not there. You can probably imagine, I don't know who they have next week, but no one will be surprised to see them drop more points there. And that's why they're where they are. But they've definitely got a foundation to build from. The manager's got a big job.
I really like him. I'm not going to lie.
He's going to get time, as he should. I don't think anything, unless he got relegated, I don't think anything he does this season should put his job under real pressure, because he's come into a mess and there's a lot to clean up there. There's a lot of players that need to go. Yeah. And therefore a lot of players need to come in. So it's going to take them a while to get going. But yeah, that was an impressive performance from them.
Yeah. And
sure.
And I think Ugarte and who was it? Kobbie Mainoo. Them two, they've not had the best of seasons, but they look great.
Good players.
It shows that they can play together. I know the previous game, the squad was all over the place, but yeah. I mean, just touching on Ruben Amorim. I actually, the more I hear him speak in the media, I really, really like him. He's very honest with what his plans are, why he's doing them, and he seems to be very honest with how he's trying to, the environment he's trying to build with the players. He speaks very well in the media, which Ten Hag for me didn't. He was
he was poor.
It was all over the place. So I think he could be the right man. What do you reckon? Long term?
Well, time will tell. They've had a few tries since Fergie. None of them have been that successful. But he's shown glimpses. He talks well. Not that that's always going to correlate to results, but it goes a long way, like you said.
But he's not shifting from his... He don't seem like he's going to shift. From Ten Hag was sort of I'm doing this, it's not really working, the players aren't doing this, I've got to go to do that. Whereas Amorim's this is my system. He even said, he come out and said, I play 3-4-3, right? If I then go and change that when results go bad, what are the players going to think of me? The players, their respect will go down for me, because I'm not believing in my own philosophy. How can they believe in me?
It's a very interesting thing, because obviously I play football. I've experienced managers that do, on both sides, managers that might change straight away after a loss, or managers that stick to what they're trying to do. I think there's a level, like you can't, there becomes a time where if you're sticking to something that's not working, you might need to change it. I don't think United are at anywhere near that time yet. He's just come.
But it's like, do you need to change? Does you need to change him and his system, or do you need to change the people he's got in his system?
That's what I'm saying. Currently, it will just be a case of he can stick to his system and know that there's players he's going to need to bring in and players that aren't going to fit his system, and that's fine. I don't think I don't think right now he should be worrying about does this 3-4-3 work, because
no, of course
he's obviously mastered it where he was before at Sporting, and like at the end of the day, any system can work. Yeah. It just depends on what a manager prefers, how he wants to play. Yeah. And then you need the players that can execute that system. If you come into a team in November, December, whenever he came in, and you're going to change your system, you're not going to have the players for that system. Yeah. That's the reality.
I mean, he's done that system for the last 2-3 years in Portugal and done really well. That's why United have brought him in.
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
And like, regardless, if he in 2 years' time ends up getting sacked because the results aren't there, if he stuck to his system and his philosophy, I think that's the right way. Like, regardless if it don't end up working out. I don't feel like you can obviously adapt little things, but you can't just go in, play the way you want to play, and then completely change it when things start not going well. Like, I know you need to adapt to certain things, but we just moaned about Arteta doing it.
Yeah, Arteta's overdoing it. There's a fine line, there's a balance, isn't it? Because we spoke previously about Postecoglou and how like he's so like he's got his way of playing, he's not willing to adapt, and you can sort of see that. I mean, you called it from time ago that that's not going to work.
Yeah,
and it's not working. So there's a fine line, right? Like, there gets to a point where a good manager can also analyze and see that, right, this system is not going to work here.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Amorim's in that situation. I'm not saying he's going to be in that situation. But like, I wouldn't say you can go 2 years with a broken system and keep working on it. I think he has license to, this season, try out his system. Next summer, shift out some players and bring in some players that will fit the system. And then from next season, you need to start seeing progress.
Yeah.
Like, he's not going to next season be a title-winning team. But you can't be in the bottom half next season. You've got to start showing, like Chelsea have done this season. You need something like that to give yourself and the fans and the players belief that this will come good eventually. Like, even with Arsenal, how Arteta changed things drastically at the start, there was always signs for people to buy into it. You can't, like, at the end of the day, players and fans need to buy into what you're doing.
Yeah.
They're not going to buy into it blindly if it's just not working for a year.
Yeah.
It'd be hard for people to believe in you.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to Antoine Semenyo yesterday, and he was saying the exact same thing, where Iraola, the Bournemouth manager, was just telling them from the start, from when he's been in, it's high press, and like give absolutely everything, don't hold anything back, and like that's what he wants: high energy, high work rate, and that's the players. They started winning games from doing that. But if they're losing games after that, the players are not going to keep doing that. No. Like, if you're losing 4 or 5 games on the spin and you're running harder than anyone else in the league,
at one point you're going to be like,
hold up, we're running all this, we're putting more effort than everyone else, and it's not fucking working.
Yeah, exactly. And
so you need results for players to buy in, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. And it's fans and players, but more importantly, players. Yeah. Obviously, you need your fans on your side, because as soon as they turn against you, the pressure starts.
The fans only like it when the players are going to produce.
Yeah, exactly. It's all linked. But I think if your players aren't buying into it, that will put a lot of pressure on you, because at the end of the day, these all experienced pros, high-level players. If they're not buying into what you're doing, you're going to have a really wrong sort of chemistry. And you can't, like, for example, Rashford right now has been sort of banished from...
Cast aside.
Yeah. You can do that with 1 or 2 players that feel like they're not buying into you, you're not buying into them.
He's come out and said he wants to go as well. Like.
Yeah, so you can do that with 1 player. But if half the team stops buying into what you're doing, you can't cast them all aside, because you're going to get a problem. So, yeah, like you're saying, the players need something back to feel as though, this is going to work.
Yeah. And I think with just going back onto, like, sticking to your system and your philosophy, I think you need to do it, but like you speaking about Spurs and Ange, like, they can't keep playing that way. You can adapt, but very little, if you know what I mean. Like for example, with Tottenham, they're high pressing, and really high line. Sometimes they need to just get a bit of shape and structure, but it's not really changing their system.
No.
Like, it's not changing their formation or like how the relationship with the players, really. Whereas Ten Hag did that like 3-4 games in. He went from wherever he was 3-5 at the back to a 4, and then that's just switched the whole dynamic of the team.
Yeah, for sure. Like with Ange, I don't think anyone should ask him to now turn into a low block team that's going to put the defenders and midfielders on the edge of their box. It's not about drastically changing what you're doing. It's just adapting, like you said, literally small things, like realising, okay, we're under the cosh here for 20 minutes. Let's retreat, manage the game, and then go again, rather than, no matter what's happening, we're going to be high pressing, high flying. That doesn't mean you're no longer a high pressing team.
Yeah.
It just means you manage the games better.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Liverpool a bit in that game.
Yeah.
As I said at the start, they weren't really at it as much. I don't know if they expected the United of the previous 4 or 5 games, and they thought, right, we're at home, and subconsciously does that play an effect of like, right, we're going to turn these over regardless. Like, you can sort of drop you 5-10% maybe.
Course.
And that's what I thought from Liverpool. They sat off a lot in the first half. Like, they give them a lot of space, yet they were still having the high back line, and that's where they were getting in. I thought, as good as he's been this season, I thought Trent had a terrible game. Like, I know there's a lot of talk about he had a terrible game, and it's the first game after the Real Madrid, like the official Real Madrid talks, and they put a bid in. Do you think that's playing a part? For me, I think it's bad timing, and I feel like it would have been the perfect opportunity for Trent to like really show a lot of grit, a lot of effort in defending to sort of show, right now I'm still a Liverpool player. This is where I want to be for now. But it wasn't the case. I mean, he was getting burnt by Dalot. Dalot is slow, by the way, and he was looking at Trent, looking at the space behind and running him and getting past him.
Yeah. There's no debating that it was a poor performance from Trent. My thing is, with the whole everyone jump into the Real Madrid conclusions, I just think that's an easy...
Just timing.
Yeah, it's just an easy thing to just throw out. Oh, Real Madrid have bid in, now he's not. Like, do you really think like a professional footballer of that caliber, of that ability, is going to let the fact that Madrid put a bid in make him not want to defend, or make him like be off? I
mean, that's nothing new. He never wants to defend. Yeah.
Well, firstly, that's not new.
Yeah.
And secondly, all this Real Madrid talk, like, players know a lot more than we know. Once that come out last week, he must have known about all of this 2-3 months ago.
Yeah.
Whilst he was playing well for the last 2-3 months.
But then it's the noise it creates. Does that get into your head?
The noise it creates potentially could get in your head. And I guess time will tell. If, like, for the next month he's no good, then yes,
maybe it is,
in his head. But one game where the opposition team really turned up, by the way, and like you said, it's nothing new. It's not like his crossing was off it, or like his...
And the whole team was a bit off it as well.
Yeah, and he was just the most off it out of all of them. Like, I wouldn't jump to the conclusion that Real Madrid is making noise and that's affected his play. Like...
Yeah,
I don't know, because like you said, it's the perfect opportunity to do the opposite. And if I was a player in that situation, I'd be hungry to do the opposite. So,
but he's not.
He's not done it.
So do you think he's going to go?
I think he's going.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know for certain.
What I'm saying is, you don't know for certain, but I think he's going to go.
I think he's going to go.
Most people do.
For free.
Yeah, most people do. So if you know you're going to go, it's like that can go 2 ways. Right, I'm going to win everything I can in this last season, or like, I obviously want to try and win, but my mind's elsewhere at the moment. Yeah, I think that can play a part subconsciously.
It can subconsciously play a part. I think being a Liverpool born and bred player, he should go for the first option and do everything he can. If he wins the league with Liverpool this year, what a send off that is. You won 2 Premier League titles, the Champions League.
Yeah.
Basically been one of their best players in this new Liverpool era. He's going for free, but that's not his fault.
Yeah.
That would be a great send-off. I think anything less than that, especially given the position they're in, then that's when fans will talk and say, you just gone in that. And if I was him, I'd just be determined to make sure they win the league and he goes off on that. I think that'd be an unreal way to say goodbye to your boyhood club.
Yeah, and listen, it's his choice at the end of the day. People can't get onto him for it. But would you leave if you were him?
Yeah.
Like, you join the academy.
Yeah.
Because we see players like Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, Steven Gerrard. And he doesn't really remind me of them. He reminds me of someone like a David Beckham, who still joined the academy, come up, but they've got that status and profile of being I don't know, you can just tell by the way he dresses, where he got, like, the way he goes on holiday. You can just tell he wants to be that he's aspired to be that superstar worldwide. Like it wouldn't surprise me if he goes Real Madrid for 4 years, then goes to Italy, then goes to America. Like I see more David Beckham vibes with him than I do like Steven Gerrard, John Terry.
I get that for sure, and that could play a part. I just look at the whole situation and think, right, if you're at the end of your contract, it becomes very easy. Gerrard, all those players were never in a position where they could go.
Why did it become easier?
Because then you just get 2 contracts on the table. Plus, like, it's if he had 3 years left, Liverpool have a say in this. He could want to go Madrid and Liverpool say no. For example, Gerrard at times was heavily linked with, I'm pretty sure he was very
Chelsea,
close to going to Chelsea. You think if he was free, that wouldn't have been a different decision. It was the whole...
Yeah, but not for the club it would have been
you.
different, but for him, Trent still has the choice. Do you want to go or do you want to stay?
Of course. I just think it makes it easier when it's entirely in your court. When it's a transfer fee, it's two sides that need to decide.
And one
the
thing,
club have to let you go, and you have to want to go.
Yeah. And one thing, I don't think people who have not been in football will realise, like, if you've been at an academy of a club since you're a little boy and gone all the way up into the first team, you never get the rewards of a superstar coming in abroad, like a Salah, a Van Dijk.
Even. Yeah, of course.
They're going to get these bigger contracts, more money, like better rewards than someone like a Trent, someone like a Jamie Carragher or a Neville. Because because you've been there so long, it's like, I mean, you don't get treated badly. Like, you get treated really well, but you get treated a bit different to a superstar.
So what it is and this is, it's the same reason why people are even talking about this in a bad way. It's like people talk like you owe the club something. And that's how the club behaves, which is why they don't give you the biggest contracts. It's almost like, this is your boyhood club. Here's what you're going to get. So, yeah, you don't get treated badly, but you don't get the same glory as, like, your Van Dijks who got bought for 8-9 million, your Salahs who got signed in and were superstars. So his contracts wouldn't have been as glamorous as some of the other players in his teams. And to a large extent, it probably, even the offers, they must have offered him stuff in the last year or two.
Yeah.
And even those would have been not the best, which is why they're in this situation where he hasn't signed them. But yeah, man, it's Real Madrid. Liverpool to like Gerrard, Chelsea at the time, that's not the same type of temptation. Like,
of course. And it was later on in his career.
Yeah. Chelsea were bigger at the time, but...
And I think you just get players that will live it, like, die by the club. Like, Gerrard, for me, he obviously was close to moving because he'd fallen out with the club. But Trent, for me, doesn't have the like die-hard love for wanting to become a club legend. Like, that's the positives of staying. You become a club legend and loved by the fans, the town forever. Yeah. But I think he's got other ambitions, which is fair enough. It's his
I just think as well, because it's Real Madrid, and like, let's say it was Chelsea right now.
You think? I think Gerrard could have gone. Gerrard could have gone United though when he was young, like when in his 20s.
I'm even then. I'm saying Real Madrid is like.
But United at that time,
you're done. Like, your Liverpool rep's done.
Yeah.
I don't see why Trent, especially if he wins the league.
Like Steve McManaman went Real Madrid.
I don't see why that would ruin his Liverpool rep, especially if they win.
No, he just won't be the Liverpool legend.
He won't be the Gerrard, won't be the Carragher type, but it's still good. Whereas if he was going Chelsea now, or if he was going United, then you would be ruining pretty much all you've done with Liverpool. I don't think the clubs compare. I just like in terms of size.
Oh, Liverpool fans don't like you for that.
Liverpool's a huge club. They're probably top 2, top 3 in the country, but like it doesn't. I don't think any team in England compares to Real Madrid.
I think Real Madrid's the biggest club in the world.
Exactly. So when a player has that opportunity to go and do that, and even with things like, you got to think, for example, he hasn't even been starting for England.
Yeah, it's mad.
As good as he is, he hasn't been a starting right back for England. He's going to be thinking, if he goes to Real Madrid and now becomes the main Real Madrid right back,
Ballon d'Or
he's got to start for England, and then all of a sudden Ballon d'Or shouts come into it to progress his career.
Yeah, but
I think there's so many more pros, and the only con literally is, do I want to be a Liverpool legend or not? And
but Liverpool they're top of the league, they're top of the Champions League. Like, for me, it's the ambition of going abroad and doing it everywhere. Like, that's for me.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to think as well, like
his profile just fits it. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah,
you think Trent, you think, right, he's going to be a star in Spain, he's going to be a star in thingy. Whereas you don't think that with certain players.
I also think that, like, long term, like, again, you spoke about Gerrard being later in his career. I think if you're like 31, then you kind of have to think of the next season or two. Yeah. But he's thinking of the next 5 seasons. Who would you bet on to be better over the next 5 years between them two?
Between who?
Liverpool and Real Madrid.
Real Madrid, yeah.
5
Cool.
years,
Yeah,
exactly.
of course.
If
Yeah.
we're talking this season,
And he knows,
next season, maybe Liverpool.
And he knows if the other teams around in the league were firing properly, they might not be there.
Exactly.
Like,
So it's a no-brainer.
listen, fair play to him, man.
Yeah.
I tell you what Real Madrid are really good at, though. They're good at like looking at a player, targeting a player that they want in 12, 18 months' time, planting seeds where like bidding 20 million, which they know full well Liverpool are not going to accept. They've not done that to buy him. They've done that to create an atmosphere between Trent and the club that he's at.
Remember the Mbappe saga was going on for years.
Yeah.
Before he signed.
Yeah. Like they create it where the player they're trying to get and their club start having a bit of disagreement, or the fans start having a disagreement. So it makes that move so much easier.
It's actually mad because I remember when Ronaldo was going to go.
They've done it with Ronaldo.
He was meant to go the year before.
Yeah, they're so good at it.
They just winded Ferguson up to the point where he said, "Nah, you can't go this year."
Yeah.
And then he went a year after, and that's 2008, 2009. They're still doing the same sort of thing. Like I'm starting to hear Perez flirting with Saliba. So you know that one in a year or two's time could be happening. I mean, they have the appeal.
They just got the pulling power of anyone. Yeah,
it's like.
But they do it so it's not like they're just chucking stupid money at it all. They're doing it so the player wants to end up just almost has no choice.
I think that's the meth. It's like, rather than just come at summer and randomly say, cool, here's 150 million, we want this guy. It's like, let's get the player into a point where he's desperate to come to us. Then the value, like if a player's going to the club saying, I want to go to Real Madrid, the price comes down.
Yeah, of course.
Trent, again, people ask why he's out of contract. I wouldn't be surprised if Madrid planted this seed 18 months ago and said...
Well, the talks probably started at least a year ago. Like, that's 18 months before the summer.
And that's enough to make you not sign a new contract.
Yeah.
If you know that, okay, in 18 months, I might just be able to walk to Real Madrid.
That's why they do it so early. It's true, man. Right, we'll finish off with... I'll just go through Arsenal and Liverpool's away fixtures, what they've got coming up, and we'll see who you reckon's got the easier running. So, I think these are right, hopefully. Arsenal's away fixtures, okay? Liverpool, Forest, Man United, Everton, Wolves, Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton. So, I mean, other than Liverpool, Forest, the first three, Liverpool, Forest, Man United, are the toughest ones. The last five should be wins, really. Like Everton, Wolves, Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton. So, for me, that's a decent running for away games.
Not bad. It's not bad after the first three.
Whereas you look at Liverpool's, this looks a lot tougher to me. Forest, Chelsea, Man City, Bournemouth, Villa, Fulham, Brighton, Brentford, Everton, Leicester. Everton, Leicester are the only two ones you think, right, that's not really going to be too tough.
The rest are tough. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about the fixtures who's got the harder running.
So does that make you more confident on Arsenal closing the gap? To me, it does. It generally does, because there's so many tough games they've got.
For sure. But for me, the issue is we're in a position where you can't slip up. When we drew to Brighton, I thought if Liverpool win tomorrow, we ain't cutting that kind of that psychologically that gap.
It's just it's going the wrong way.
Exactly. We got 9 points or 6 plus a game in hand, so let's say 9 points. That can't afford to go the other way.
No.
Like you got
not
9
this
points
stage now.
Exactly. It's half the season. Like there's not like 25, 30 games to go. There's about 18, 19 games to go.
Maybe even less, yeah.
Maybe less. That can't go the other way around. It's got to stay at 9 points. And ideally at some points, you got to start creeping up on them. So then my worry is, because our first 3 of those 8 away games are the harder ones, could that go the other way before then? If that goes the other way in the next 2 games, then it's like done, psychologically we're done. It doesn't really matter where, like, we can go on a mad run for the last 5 away games, but you psychologically you feel like you're out of it. So that's a big thing. I think if we can get a result at Anfield, which you can do,
which you definitely can. Listen, Trent's off to Madrid, as we just spoke about. So
you can definitely get a result at Anfield.
For me, I think it's going to be really tight.
And
United and who else do we have? I'll get it up. I think it's going to be
Forest. I think if you're serious, you can go to United and win. You can also go to Forest and win if you're serious.
We should be beating them too.
That's what I'm saying. It's like we're not in a position, like if we want to be title challengers or title winners, I mean, you got to just start beating AC. We should have beat Brighton, and that's Brighton are a good team. They're like, that's no disrespect to them, but you have to start showing the levels between the good teams in the Prem and the title winners.
Yeah,
and that means going to these teams and doing a job. So, I mean, Forest on unreal form.
If you had to put a bet on it, yeah, I don't know if you bet gamble, but if you had to put your life on it, who would you say wins the league?
If I had to put my life on it, I'd say Liverpool.
Liverpool still.
Yeah, it's 9 points, isn't it? Like, if somehow...
Do you think it's going to be close, like a 1 or 2 pointer? That's how I see it going. Either way.
I don't think it will be 9. Like, I don't think it'll be a big gap like
Yeah.
that. And I also, like, I think the gap will close naturally. Even if, like, let's say Liverpool run away with it, if they will then, the gap will probably close. They won't win every game.
Yeah.
But I think if the gap starts closing...
Early.
Yeah, like within the next 2 weeks, then I think it'll be really close.
Yeah.
Because that's when squeaky bum time happens and like it gets nervy. Then it'll just be, can they see it out? If I had to put my life on it, I think anyone would be. I don't know anyone.
With Saka, I'd go. You'd have to go Liverpool.
I don't know anyone that would put their life on anything else right now.
Yeah.
If it was that important.
I agree. Let's get straight on to Arsenal.
Yep.
So we drew again, and like in hindsight, it's another missed opportunity where Chelsea drew, Liverpool drew. Perfect weekend to gain some ground on them, innit?
Yeah, like it's definitely disappointing result, especially given that we went ahead first.
Yeah.
I think once you get the first goal in a game, I think you've then, in the position Arsenal are in, got to capitalise and like put your foot down and really come away with the 3 points. So, was disappointing. Obviously, people were arguing about the penalty. Was it a penalty? Was it not a penalty? I wasn't on that side of things. Like, I do think it was a debatable penalty, but I just think we weren't that great and we didn't perform in a way that deserved much more than
a draw or nicking a win.
Yeah, maybe nick a win, but like we can't come away there and say that was a great performance that was robbed by a referee. I don't think it was.
Yeah, do you think that was a pen then? Like in my opinion, I watched it back again. I didn't really understand the debate. For me, it's a pen, and I'm an Arsenal fan.
Yeah,
like if that was with the feet, no one would be debating it.
I think what it is again, I've never seen a pen really given for a clash of heads.
Yeah,
and most people probably haven't. So that's probably the part that people are trying to say, that doesn't happen, but because it's Arsenal, it's been given. But I mean, you can't come in and headbutt someone.
Yeah, and
after they've headed the ball, like
it's not like a clash of heads where you've both gone up, you've both headed. It's basically a tackle with your head.
Exactly.
Like it's only one person moving towards the other.
Literally that. So, exactly. It's not like a corner's come in and two people have jumped for the ball.
Yeah.
And one's missed it. Like it's not that at all.
Yeah.
It's literally he's got ahead of him with his head instead of his foot, and he's got a late tackle with his head. So I thought it was a penalty.
Yeah. It was a pen, man.
And I don't think even if it was up for debate, I don't think you can sit here and say we got robbed or anything. I think everyone has to see why that can be given as a pen.
Yeah. But there was, I don't know if you see for one of Arsenal's corners, Gabriel, his marker, he sort of sent him one way, went the other, and he sort of slipped and took him out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you see that.
Yeah.
And for me, again, like the fact that that's almost by accident, like he slipped, he's just taken him out, it's an accident. Referees seem to not want to give him as much. And the fact it's in the box, so it'd be a penalty.
So that's the debate, isn't it? Because Saliba's obviously done that by accident.
Yeah.
And it got given. Whereas you get the other way around and people feel like it's not getting given.
Yeah. Like there's no way that's not a pen. He slipped, taking him out, stopped him running.
It doesn't matter if you meant it or not, or slipped or not. Like it's you've taken him out. So
yeah. Well, with Arsenal's lineup, when I looked at it, I was a bit like I weren't happy with it. Basically, we had the main thing that stuck out to me. Ranieri, I think's been great since when he started, even out on the wide. Yeah. But I think his best position is in the midfield. And our midfield was, I believe it was Jorginho, Marino and Rice. Okay, so no Odegaard. I'm not sure what reason he didn't start. But it's just like the number 10 position now is dying out. Like it's been dying out for years, but it seems like managers are more likely and happier to go with 3 system players, 3, let's say, more safe players, and have their number 10s out wide.
Do you wonder if this is where it could be a bit of Arteta's downfall this season, this sort of conservative approach? Because I don't see why, like that midfield 3.
We're not creating much with that. I mean, like, let's be real.
I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know the game better than Arteta, but I would never start with that midfield 3 unless like I literally just had no players available. Because there's no creativity in there. They're all, kind of 6s that can do a job as an 8.
Yeah.
No one's a real creator in there. So I didn't really get it.
It's like you take Odegaard out. There's one person fair enough. If whatever reason he didn't start, I don't know why. If it's resting him, saving his legs,
he might.
Bring in Nwaneri's the result,
and you played him anyway. So why not just? It's not like
play him in his position, and then we've got players like Martinelli. I know he's not been on great form, but he's a winger.
We have
play him on the wing.
Yeah. It's not like we're lacking in wingers and we needed someone to fill out there. I mean, obviously he scored the goal from out there, so you can't say he got it too wrong. Like Nwaneri can do a great job out there. But then we've got the midfield missing. I think if Odegaard was there, then it's fine, isn't it? It's like, okay, we've got a creator in midfield. Nwaneri can be out there. But without Odegaard, I think he needs to be playing as a 10. But I don't know. There's obviously a reason.
He obviously got a goal. But
yeah, there's obviously a reason they're not going for that kind of creative 10. But I think it's too conservative. I don't think we look free-flowing as we have done in previous games or previous seasons.
And Arteta realised it whatever minute in the second half because he made changes. He realised it weren't working.
Yeah, it was 1-1 at that point though. No?
Yeah.
It's like...
But there's one other game that we've done that to my memory this season where we played 3 of them sort of 6s, 8s. And that was Bournemouth away.
And we lost.
Yeah. And we lost and we looked poor, like we looked boring. Yeah, and we looked like we couldn't get things going.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you not learn the lesson from that time? That's like, this is the only thing I'm critical of Arteta. Like sometimes in recent weeks, when we've not had all players fit, the starting 11 has been a bit questionable.
Yeah. And it's difficult because, again, we haven't had all players fit, so he is juggling around with what he's got available. But, yeah, I don't know. I feel like we come away from his ideal team and ideal tactics too much when he hasn't got everyone available.
Yeah.
I think in an ideal world, let's say you have your philosophy and you're 11, if everyone's fit. If you've got a few injuries, I still feel like you've got to field a team that tries to replicate.
Yeah, whether it's even if it's to a lower level, like
of course,
Nwaneri for an Odegaard.
It will be to a lower level because you can't replace your Sakas, you can't replace your Odegaards. But surely that's still your way of playing.
Yeah.
And surely those players aren't bad players. They can come in and do 80-90% of what the player they're replacing was doing. So. But we seem to do the opposite, where it's like, okay, a couple of players missing, let's turn into another team and play a different style. And then we just never look like it's clicking.
Well, how can you? Like, you spend all the time building like the patterns of play, the system, relationships of a player, like of, let's say when Odegaard's got the ball, he knows sort of where Saka's going to be, vice versa. But then you play someone who's not doing that same role, it's just going to be completely different, isn't it? Like, you've got to just learn a new system.
Yeah, and all the players around him have to play different. Like, I'm sure if you're, let's say, I don't know, Rice, and you're playing in midfield with Odegaard, I'm sure you've got some kind of chemistry going. If now you play Merino there, it's a completely different type of game you're trying to play. Whereas if you play Nwaneri there, yes, he's not necessarily on the same level as Odegaard, but it's a similar type of game you're trying to play.
Yeah.
And that goes all around the pitch.
Yeah.
That's football, isn't it? It's built on chemistry and link-ups, and I think we've changed the chemistry and link-ups way too much this season.
Yeah, I agree. And we've been unlucky with injuries, but that don't change the fact that we have changed it. Let's just go back onto the referees a bit, because I think it was the Liverpool United game, there was a handball given, and in the Arsenal game, there was the exact same situation, in my opinion, where the arm's in a natural position away from the body.
Yeah.
Arsenal game, it didn't get given, and in the United game, it got given. Like, what do you? We've both played football, and you still play. I've had to retire. Do you know the handball rule? Like, what is the actual rule to this day?
No. I mean,
it's mad.
I spoke about this with someone not long ago. I don't think many players, even coaches, will like fully know what the rule is, and I don't think it's because we're lazy and don't know the rule, but it's more because it seems like there's so many interpretations of the rule every week that it's like it gets to a point where you don't actually know what's going to be given, and that's a problem. Like for example, offside. Everyone knows the offside rule. Everyone knows when something's, even if it's marginally.
Yeah.
There's no discussion.
Yeah.
Whereas with handballs, you get a handball one week, and the next everyone's thinking that was the same as last week, but it's not given. I don't think that's right.
You could have two people look at the exact same thing, and it's like, I don't think that's a handball. So that's a handball.
So then games can be determined by who's refereeing.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen. It should be pretty much black and white. Like, yes, that's handball. No,
Yeah.
that's not handball.
Like, the fact it's still not clear to everyone is ridiculous. And for me, like, I think the handball rule should be if your arms are away from your body, so it's not literally in line with your body, regardless if it's in a natural position or not, it's a handball because it's away from your body. It's stopped the ball either going in or you've stopped the ball with your arm. Regardless if you meant it or not, it doesn't matter. Like, that's a handball.
I agree. It would make it very simple. Like, the whole intentional handball thing, again, it's not, in my opinion, a great idea to have because how do you know if someone meant it or not? I think the whole natural and unnatural position, again, I think it's interpreted so wrong because let's say you're flying in for a tackle and your arm's slightly off your body. That's still natural.
Yeah.
It's very natural if you're flying in for a tackle. Doesn't mean it shouldn't be given for a pen though, because if your arm's like way out of your body and you've stopped the ball, you're, interfering with play.
Yeah.
Is it natural for the defender to hold his arms behind his back when he's defending?
No, of course
That's
not.
natural.
Yeah.
So the whole natural and unnatural thing, again, I think is just probably written by people that never played football.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense. It should literally be like what you said. If you're basically expanding the area of your body with your arms and you stop a ball going in a certain direction, it's a penalty. And I think that would take away so much.
It makes it so much clearer.
Yeah.
And if, we do it with normal tackles, like let's say you're running through, I've slipped over, just accidentally slipped and taken you out. Like, that's a foul. So they do it when it's not to do with your hands. So why don't you still do that with handball?
And the biggest issue I have with handball is it seems to be pretty clear all over the pitch, except when it's time to give a penalty.
Yeah.
If you score a goal
true.
and you controlled the ball with your chest and then it hit your bicep, that would be disallowed.
Yeah.
Even if the touch on your bicep was so minimal and it didn't actually change the direction of the ball, it would just be disallowed because it touched your bicep. So why is it that when it comes to defenders, there's so much leniency? Like, oh, if it's touched his arm, but it's like in a natural position, we won't give it. Like, it's like anywhere else on the pitch is pretty much everyone knows when it's handball, except in the penalty box.
Yeah, it's true. And just talking back onto the Arsenal game.
Yeah.
Where do you think we were lacking? Because we obviously spoke about the lineup, and we didn't really dominate the game or really deserve the 3 points to the fullest extent. Where do you think we're missing? Do you think like the solution is a Wanyeri back in the middle if Odegaard's not playing, and then we need a right winger? Like, do we need to sign one in January?
I think if we want any chance of competing for trying to close the gap, I think we need reinforcements. I think the current team with the injuries I can't see them going on a 15-game win streak, because that's basically what's needed. So 15-20-game win streak. I can't see them doing that because I don't think they're that much better than other teams.
Yeah.
Like, Brighton's a good team. You'd say Arsenal's a better team, but to go away from home and beat Brighton comfortably, you have to be a very good team. You can't just be an okay team.
Yeah.
I see us right now as an okay team with some, really good centre-backs.
And a lot of out of form, not hitting their top form players.
Basically, and too many. You can't have 3, 4, 5 in an 11 that aren't hitting their levels, because you're not going to go to Brighton and win with that kind of form. So I think it's been clear we've been needing wingers, even when we had our best winger fit. Now he's not fit. It's a no-brainer really for me.
And I mean, what's happened with Sterling? He's not even in the squad.
Injured,
he's injured.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
He has a knee injury, I think.
So who would you bring in? Who's a name? We were talking off camera that I mentioned Semenyo for Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Just because he's someone who's won't break the bank in terms of getting him. Still be a decent amount, young, and he's on top form. And he's a dangerous winger, quick, off both feet. He can and his best position is that right wing, where Saka's obviously out for 2 months, and he's been our only player there really.
Yeah, I assume we're not looking to break the bank in January. I don't know that for certain, but I assume we're not. In which case, players like Semenyo would probably be perfect in the sense that they wouldn't break the bank, but they're top-level, Prem-proven players. He's versatile as well, can play on the left, can play through the middle. So it's always good to have players that are versatile, especially when you've got injury crises like we've got and stuff like that. But that would be a good name. I don't think many Arsenal fans would complain if you brought him in.
No.
He could only get better in an Arsenal team than he's been performing at Bournemouth.
Yeah, and the last 12 to 18 months, he's just been every single month just getting better.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Yeah.
And he's still, he's 24.
25 today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
25. So, yeah, like, it's a good age. I'd like to see him at Arsenal.
Yeah.
I don't know who our targets are at the minute. So, it's hard to speculate, but I think we need reinforcements, and I'm sure Arteta must know that.